Rivers Sole administrator seeks more time to brief reps. Gunmen attacked Mieti Allah community and killed a trader. Tribunal upholds FCCPC's 220 million fine against Meta. And on the foreign scene, DR Congo and Rwanda to sign accord in U.S. on peace pathway. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa. Thank you so much for joining. After two failed appearances, the sole administrator of Rivers State, Vice Admiral Ebok Ete Aibas, retired, finally appeared before the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Friday. His previous absence raised eyebrows, but Aibas clarified that his non-appearance were not out of disregard for the House, but due to what he described as weighty and urgent demand for stabilizing governance in a state under emergency rule. Also requested more time to prepare a comprehensive briefing, citing the disruption caused by recent Easter holidays. Chairman of the committee, Julius Overi, while underscoring the constitutional role of the National Assembly in legitimizing and overseeing the state of emergency declared in Rivers State, noted that his appearance marks a turning point in the committee's effort to resolve the crisis, where answers and actions are still awaited. In response, Aibas acknowledged the committee's authority and apologized for his absence.
For that state of emergency, the Gazette must be sent to the National Assembly for approval. It's only that approval that gives life to the state of emergency. So I repeat that so that you know how critical the National Assembly is to that process. The members you see here were carefully selected based on zonal representation and membership of the House to advance the progress that Rivers State needs to make in order to be part and parcel of the holistic structure of democracy.
I recognize the importance of your oversight responsibilities and your interest in the progress being made in Rivers State, which is presently relatively calm, but still fragile. That said, I humbly request your understanding and the indulgence of this committee to grant me additional time to adequately prepare and present a comprehensive and constructive briefing. Given the complexities and sensitivities surrounding the current transitional period in Rivers State, it is important that any engagement with this committee is done with the depth, accuracy, and clarity it rightfully deserves.
The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, will lead Nigeria's delegation to Vatican City to attend the burial of Pope Francis on Saturday. In a statement on Friday, Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, revealed that the 5-member delegation was constituted by President Bola Tinubu. Other members of the delegation are the Minister of State, Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, Archbishop Lucius Iwejuru Ogoji, President of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, Archbishop of Sokoto Diocese, Archbishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, and Archbishop of Abuja Diocese, Archbishop Ignatius Ayoa Kaigama. Pope Francis, the revered head of the Roman Catholic Church, died on Monday, April 21, 2025 at 88, just a day after appearing for Easter Sunday celebration at the Vatican. Onanuga noted that the delegation will formally deliver a letter conveying President Tinubu's sympathy and condolence on Pope Francis' passing to the acting head of the Vatican. Some yet-to-be-identified hoodlums have killed a trader at Mieti Allah community of Rigasa in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State. According to the residents, the assailant attacked the victim, Kamal, at his shop in the early hours of Thursday morning. Trust TV's Bello Musa completes this report.
Kamal Suleiman was a trader who ran a provision shop at Mieti Allah in Rigasa, Kaduna. He was attacked while he was taking a nap at the shop. Some eyewitnesses narrate the ugly incident.
To, abin kuma ma fa da ya faru kacin kuma ma fa muna cikin dai bacci kuma ma tare da kanina. So
we were sleeping when we heard someone shout thieves. We came out and saw them beating Kamal. There was nothing we could do because there were only two of us with sticks, and there were about 30 people wearing black dresses.
Him
last night around 11 p.m. We then went to our houses around 2 a.m. We had a bang on the door. We came out shouting for help, but nobody came until they killed him. I think they were thieves.
We are
shocked and devastated because some of them wore women's hijab to disguise themselves. People were afraid to come out and help him because they were well armed. Relatives of the late Kamal Suleiman say they are still devastated following a gruesome killing of their brother Kamal.
He was
operating the provision store and also doing Okada. I was with him last night and I bought some goods from him. We had a long conversation, then I paid him and left. At about 3 a.m. my neighbor called me saying that thieves were attacking Kamal. I called people close to the shop to help, but they were afraid to come out until I called the leader of the vigilante, Aminu Bolo. When he arrived at the scene, they had already injured Kamal, and he died at the Rigasa hospital. Residents expressed concern over the ugly incident and called on the government to fish out the perpetrators.
To
be honest, we didn't suspect anybody, but I'm sure they were sent to kill him because he was the target. They didn't take anything from the shop. The victim Kamal Suleiman has since been buried, according to Islamic rite in Rigasa, Kaduna State. The Kaduna State Police Command is yet to issue a statement on the incident. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
The Catholic Diocese of Kafanchan has confirmed the release of Reverend Father Ibrahim Amos. The priest was kidnapped from his residence by bandits in early hours of Thursday. Amos is the parish priest of St. Gerald Kwaisi Parish, Kurubmen Rigasa in Kauru local government area of Kaduna State. In a statement, Reverend Father Jacob Shanet, Chancellor of the Kafanchan Diocese, said the kidnapped priest returned home unharmed at about 10 p.m. on Thursday. Shanet thanked security agencies and members of the public for their prayers and overwhelming show of concern following the priest's abduction. Troops of the Nigerian Army's 6th Brigade, Sector 3 of the Operational World Stroke have arrested a wanted bandit and a military impersonator in Taraba State. The arrests were said to have been made under Operation Lafian Jama'a following credible intelligence provided by local residents. Acting spokesperson for the brigade, Captain Oni Olubodunde, in a statement on Friday said the troops also recovered a cache of arms and ammunition. Although the suspect fled into nearby mountains, the troops recovered a rifle butt and an AK-47 magazine, a military headgear, and an identification card belonging to one Adamu Umar Jauro. The army reiterated its commitment to maintaining peace and security in Taraba and urged the public to remain vigilant and continue sharing useful information with security forces. former presidential candidate under the platform of Labour Party in 2023 election, Peter Obi, has raised alarm over the growing trend of transactional politics in Nigeria, where politicians allegedly bankroll young people to harass and discredit advocates of good governance on social media. Speaking at Johns Hopkins University in Washington, D.C., in a video on Thursday, Obi condemned the disturbing practice, describing it as a betrayal of the very youth whose future is at stake. Obi called the situation both tragic and ironic. According to him, the same young Nigerians who should be champions of reform are being weaponized against it, used to defend a broken system they suffer under.
In the transactional politics of Nigeria. So people pay them to cause confusion. As I'm here now, go to the social media, all those that are being paid 20,000, 40,000 monthly to abuse your youth, whom you are fighting for their life, because at over 60, I have just a few years to go. But we can get it right.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, says the 2027 general election is a contest between President Bola Tinubu and the living condition of Nigerians. PDP acting national chairman Umar Damagun stated this on Thursday while presenting a certificate of return to the PDP candidate for the Anambra State governorship election, Chief Ezenwafo Jude. He also weighed in on the defection of Delta State Governor Sheriff Oboreviri and former governor of the state Ifeanyi Okowa on Wednesday. Oboreviri, Okowa and all the cabinet members of the Delta State government defected from the PDP to the ruling All Progressive Congress APC. The PDP boss said the party has been too magnanimous to Delta State and did not deserve the political treatment received through the defection.
We have started what? From the evolution of the state executive to your emergence as our candidate. I think what you need to do is to go back and consolidate and vote all some and make sure that everyone has support. With that, I assure you our total support and commitment, all the efforts you are going to put in our party. It's very sad and unfortunate, because to me, if there is any state that should think that way, not there, because the party is very magnanimous. I thank God that in their message, they didn't say that the party did anything wrong to them, other than good.
The federal government has explained its decision on installing solar panel at the Aso Rock Villa, the seat of power in the country. The Director General of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, Mustafa Abdullahi, said it is unsustainable for the Aso Rock Villa to continue to pay about 47 billion yearly in power bills. He also said that this is why President Bola Tinubu approved 10 billion for the solar power grid to power the presidential villa. Mustafa, who gave the explanation while briefing the press on Friday, said the move is in line with the president's agenda to diversify energy source and also cut the cost of governance. He added that it will be uninterrupted and clean energy, create jobs, foster innovation and among Nigerian engineers and energy experts, and ultimately reduce pressure on the national grid. The Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal has upheld the $220 million fine imposed on Meta Platform, incorporated by the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC. In a statement on Friday, the FCCPC's Director for Corporate Affairs, Ondaji Ijogu announced that the tribunal also awarded the commission $35,000 to cover the investigation cost. Ijogu noted that the tribunal specifically determined the commission complied with prevailing laws, discharged its mandate, and exercised its power within the confines of the 1999 Constitution as amended. He added that the tribunal ruled that the multiple actions by WhatsApp and Meta, for which Commission made findings of violations, were correctly identified, and that the Commission did not err in making those findings. The tribunal's three-member panel was led by Honorable Thomas Okusong. Nigeria carries a deadliest weight of malaria, accounting for a staggering 31% of global deaths, with the country's public health experts, frontline workers, and everyday citizens leading the charge. The slogan is more than a call; it's a challenge. The World Health Organization, alongside partners and local stakeholders, is urging for renewed investment, bold innovation, and grassroots momentum to end malaria. Lilian Ogazi reports.
Every year, on April 25th, the world unites to commemorate World Malaria Day, a global action to end one of humanity's deadliest disease. In 2025, the theme Malaria Ends With Us, Reinvest, Reimagine, Reignite could not hit closer to home than Nigeria, which bears the highest burden of malaria globally. Africa accounts for about 94% of malaria cases and 95% of malaria deaths, according to the World Health Organization. And Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, stands at the epicenter, responsible for approximately 31% of global malaria death. So, what does the fight look like on the ground? And what hope does this year's theme hold? What is the financial burden on Nigerians?
Much kudos to the National Malaria Elimination Program. I've been in this space for quite a long time to say their effort has really been paying, and give thanks to so many funders, Global Fund, USAID, and few others that have really been very supportive to see how malaria tends to end in the country, and then we reduce the burden. And we see good works with the SMC programs, the seasonal malaria chemical prevention, which has actually been more focused to see how children under 5 are actually protected, from malaria.
Yeah, as of 2020, the WHO has estimated over $2 billion have been estimated to have been spent on malaria diagnosis, management, treatment, and preventive measures. Luckily, there are programs in place right now for prevention in terms of vaccine and vaccinology.
Despite the grim statistics, a glimmer of hope emerged in October 2024 when Nigeria receives its first shipment of 1 million doses of the RTSS malaria vaccine. This historic step, made possible with support from Gavi, UNICEF, and the World Health Organization, could mark a turning point.
We were able to introduce, starting with 2 states. We had to prioritize 2 states because one, there's a constraint. There was a constraint in the supply of vaccine, but we also wanted to learn. It's a new kind of vaccine. Each person has to get 4 shots over a certain period, and that's a new experience for us. So we needed to learn, we are learning from that experience. 101,158 children have been vaccinated across the 4 states. We got 1 million doses, and give or take a little bit that we used for testing and reserves. That will serve about 250,000 children across both states.
The theme of World Malaria Day 2025, Malaria Ends With Us, calls for reinvestment in proven solutions like insecticide-treated nets and diagnostics, reimagination of outreach strategies, and reignition of community-level activism. The path won't be easy, but with over 200 million lives on the line, the time to reinvest, reimagine, and reignite is now. Lilian Ogazi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Malaria has been described as one of the most consequential diseases of public health concern, especially in Africa. It is seen as a leading cause of death, particularly among children under age 5. Public health physicians and at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH, gave more insight on steps individuals can take to protect themselves from malaria infections. The report.
World Malaria Day is marked annually on the 25th of April. To end malaria infection, it is essential for everyone to work together to keep proper hygiene. Speaking to Trust Television on World Malaria Day, public health physicians from the Lagos University Teaching Hospital emphasized the need for regular checkup to prevent the disease. The father emphasized the importance of taking malaria vaccine as it is available across all age groups.
The rainy seasons are upon us, and this is a time where mosquito bites are going. So the first thing to do is to reduce the risk of being bitten by mosquitoes. And one of the effective ways to do this is by sleeping in mosquito nets, insecticide-treated mosquito nets. These are proven to one of the best, protection against that. Of course, you can also use repellents and all of that. But number one way is to, reduce the risk of being bitten by, a mosquito.
Malaria has been responsible for the largest burden of malaria globally and also has a significant number of deaths. And currently, the national prevalence of malaria is at about 22%. And in some states, it's up to about 49%, like in states like Kebbi State. So it's important for all efforts to be put together to ensure that as much as possible, the burden of malaria is reduced. And so this is why every year we try to create awareness around malaria to ensure that more people are informed about it and they know what to do, how to prevent it. Currently, we have 2 malaria vaccines that have been developed. We are extremely excited about these 2 vaccines because they have been shown to be quite effective in reducing the risk of malaria, particularly among our children. So currently, these vaccines are recommended for children starting basically between 0 to 5 months. Why? Because this age group is the age group that is at risk for malaria infections, morbidity and mortality from malaria.
To effectively fight against malaria, stakeholders said it is important to seek medical attention and receive adequate treatments to avoid complications that could come from having severe malaria as a result of improper mistreatment of these infections.
And now in business, the International Monetary Fund has called for transparency in Nigeria's oil sector to ensure the gains of fuel subsidy removal are not lost in insufficiency and opacity, but delivers more resources into government coffers and better livelihoods for citizens. While commending the Nigerian government's bold move to eliminate costly fuel subsidies, a long-standing drain on public finance, the IMF warned that without clear accountability mechanism in place, the anticipated fiscal dividends may fail to materialize. The fund's comment come amidst rising public scrutiny over how savings from the subsidy reform are being deployed and lingering concerns about leakages within the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, and related agencies, combined with high global interest rates, which are increasing the cost of borrowings. The nation's already limited fiscal space is under further stress. This is just as the fund warned that the region's fragile is now under renewed pressure as a wave of fresh global shocks threatens the drill hard-won economic gains. And away from Nigeria, Congo and Rwanda plan to sign an agreement in Washington on Friday to promote peace and economic development. Reports said it's part of a diplomatic push to end violence after an advance by Rwandan-backed rebels in eastern Congo. The agreement raises hopes that the latest cycle of violence in a decades-long conflict rooted in the Rwandan genocide might ease, but both countries hoping to attract significant U.S. investment in minerals. However, previous ceasefire calls have not produced a sustained break in the fighting. The two countries' foreign ministers are expected to sign at the ceremony with U.S. Secretary of the State Marco Rubio. Washington is in talks to invest billions of dollars in minerals in Congo, which has vast deposits of copper, cobalt, and lithium used in mobile phones and cars. And now in sport, former Shooting Star head coach Fatai Amo says the Remo Stars will win the Nigerian Premier League Football League (NPFL) title. Amo said that the Sky Blue Stars have shown enough zeal to win their first major title in the history. Remo Stars have earned 65 points from 34 league matches, while Rivers United are second on the log with 58 points. Remo Stars will be up against Niger Tornadoes in their next league game in Ekene. And with that, we have come to the end of news updates. Do not forget to watch us across all our social media platforms for more news, programs, and documentaries. I'm Fatima Ahmed Musa. To have a good evening.